So this is the background that I have made for my bunyip. I have made it with coffee ink and using found drawing tools and a variety of different leaves. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is to go and find yourself a stick that you think will make a good drawing stick. Try and find a brush. If you have one, it's easier. And try and find some different leaves that will make interesting marks. The top of the rosemary made these sort of scratchy lines, me moving along with the tip and dipped in coffee ink. The leaves here on the tree were these daisy leaves. I've also got these little daisy leaves, okay, so a different type of daisy, and that was these patterns here. Then I worked over it with my drawing stick to develop the trunk and branches and just to really create a bit more of this foreground, the rocks and grass and so on that's happening down on the ground, and the sun up in the sky shining brightly. The first thing you need to do is to collect yourself some leaves. Try and make them nice, simple shapes and quite strong. What you need is a little pot with your coffee ink in it. If you don't have a brush, then you will need to put your coffee ink in a larger, flatter container that you can dip your leaves into. You need to have some newspaper underneath your working space to keep your table clean, and some recycled paper. Let's start off with just one of these pieces of recycled paper. Now I'm going to demonstrate the painting on the leaves. So you put the leaf down, you get your brush, you dip it into the ink, wipe it on the edge, and then paint in long strokes all over the back, including the stem of your leaf. Now go right out to the tips, so the whole leaf is covered. Okay, like so. Then you place it down on your paper where you want, say, a tree or some foliage to be, and you press it with a flat palm, lift it up, move it, place it down again, flat palm, pressing all the way over the leaf, place it down again, another print out of it, holding it in place with my other hand, and then lifting it up. You can see that each time you print it, it gets a little bit lighter. But that's really nice. You don't want your prints to all be really, really dense, because you don't get any of the interesting details of the leaves. Things like the veins and the edges become clearer with the lighter prints. Okay, so we can do that again, painting all the way out to the edges. Your flat part of your palm, holding it still with your other hand. Now let's have a look what happens with the little bit of rosemary. So I'm just dipping the tips into the ink. So I've just got it on the tips of the plant, and I'm going to do some long strokes just from the bottom up. This creates a really nice sort of grassy sort of effect. And it's a bit messy, which is what the Australian bush is a little bit. It's a very scratchy, messy sort of place, lots of grass and twigs. Okay, now you have to be a little bit careful with this one because it does tend to splatter. And now I'm going to get the other leaf from the daisies, place it down, paint it again, whole back of the plant. Okay, the whole thing's covered. Then I'm placing it down here, Again, palm, just lightly. Doesn't have to be really hard, it's just a light press. Working out to the tips. Actually, let's see what happens with the parsley. I haven't tried the parsley, so let's experiment. Paint the parsley. Okay, and here we are. Move that over. I'm going to pop it over this way here. Place it down gently. And palm, flat palm, pressing. And there we have it. Okay, it's quite a good tree. And now I take my stick, dipping it into the ink and drawing my trunks. And I can colour it in. Dipping, have to keep dipping into the ink, repeating your dipping, because you can see the stick doesn't hold ink like a brush does. But you can drag it up and you can get some really nice wispy sort of lines. This is really fun experimenting, just seeing what we can do. Okay, coming down, working the branches, the trunk. Okay, I think I quite like that, the way it is. And then if I want to put some rocks and things down here, I just did the little circles. Always dipping. Dipping in, drawing, dipping, drawing. And if I get a bit of a puddle of ink, I can use that and I can pull it out and do something else with it. Okay? And that's the way it goes. Just keep going. And maybe up here, do your sun or clouds or just lots and lots of foliage. It all depends on what your environment is. If it's in the water, maybe some of these leaves can become like the grasses and things in the water. The jungus or the seaweed if it's in the ocean. Where your bunyip might like to live, and we're trying to create that environment using printing of natural found objects and drawing with handmade tools. All right, have fun.